Welcome back to my Houston Texans franchise rebuild here on Madden 22. Today we are jumping into our next offseason. If you didn't watch the last video, we made it all the way to the Super Bowl and then lost to the Packers 31-21, and Joe Spitzer did not exactly play well in that game. He played well in the entire playoff run up until the Super Bowl, and then he threw 3 interceptions and fumbled the ball. It was not a pretty game. But now we're going to look past that and look to the future and try to get back to the Super Bowl and actually get a win. Starting with good news in this offseason, we did get a contract extension for making it to the Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and take a look at some season stats, starting with Joe Spitzer. 4,900 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. By far, I believe, his best career year, and now he is a superstar dev trait. Every season so far, Spitzer has gotten a better passer rating as he went along, but he's still thrown 14 picks every year. He started really good this year, and then near the end just started throwing a ton. Rushing-wise, Miles Sanders does cross 1,000 yards. He gets 1,012 yards and 10 touchdowns. And that's actually the first time in his career he has passed 1,000 yards. Receiving-wise, DJ Chark, 72 catches, 1,100 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Brian Tyson, 72 catches, a little over 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Rashard Higgins with 60 catches, 776 yards, and 11 touchdowns in the slot. He played amazing for us this year. And then Robert Tonyan led the team in receptions with 84 catches for 906 yards and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, leading the team in tackles was Jordan Brooks, which is pretty good considering we paid him all of that money last offseason. Grant Delpit ended with 109, and Desmond King got 108. Who led the team in sacks? DeMarcus Lawrence with 13.5, one of our other big free agent signings from last year, and Fletcher Cox, who probably is underpaid for this year. We had him on a pretty cheap deal, ended with 12.5, and Jonathan Greener got 11.5. So our D-line played amazing this year. Interceptions, Desmond King led the team with 5, Malik Morgan got 3, Justin Reed got 3, Sheldon Peterson only got 1, and I think it was in the first game of the season. Pat Bergantz got 1, Jordan Brooks got 1, and Raymond Kyle got 1, and then Foster, wherever he is, I'm sorry, Favors, not Foster, he got 2 in the playoffs. Looking at stats around the league, Patrick Mahomes led the league in passing yards with 5,300, Josh Allen a little over 5,000, Drew Lock threw for almost 5,000 yards in Washington, then Spitzer, then Stafford, who is a saint, I completely forgot that, and Jordan Love, who won the Super Bowl with almost 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Leading the league in touchdowns was Patrick Mahomes and Joe Spitzer, both throwing 41. And then leading the league in picks was Kenny Cohen, the quarterback for Philadelphia, who threw 25 interceptions. Rushing-wise, Derrick Henry runs for 2,100 yards, Nick Chubb for almost 19, and Kamara almost for 1,500, but leading the league in rushing touchdowns was Alvin Kamara with 24, Christian McCaffrey had 22, Henry had 20. Leading the league in receptions is Christian Kirk with 121 catches, 1,500 yards, and 12 touchdowns. You know, maybe he is worth that contract the Jaguars gave him in real life. We are like 4 years in the future here. Godwin also got over 100 catches. What about yardage? Christian Kirk, 1,500, and touchdowns? O.J. Howard with 14. Gabriel Davis got 13, and George Kittle got 13. Leading the entire league in tackles is Bobby Okereke, I think that's how you pronounce his name, with 143. And Marquez Tolbert, an auto-generated player for the Saints, got 142. What about sacks? TJ Watt got 23, Joey Bosa got 19, Nick Bosa got 17.5, Montez Sweat got 17, Aaron Donald got 15.5, and leading the league in picks was Keanu Neal with 6. Desmond King came in second, tied with a bunch of people with 5. And the longest field goal on the season goes to Justin Tucker for his 67-yard field goal. He never missed an extra point. 58 of 58. And how many blocks were there? Austin Seibert got 4 kicks blocked this year. Damn. Alvin Kamara wins the MVP for his 24 touchdown performance while his team went 5-12. Makes perfect amount of sense, and Spitzer is actually on the list. He is 8th. So hopefully next season he can climb up that list a little more. Coach of the year is Urban Meyer, leading the Jags to a 14-3 record and getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs by the guy who came in 5th place. As always, first we will check the NFC Awards. So Offensive Player of the Year goes to Kamara. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Nick Bosa. Offensive Rookie goes to a player for the Rams. No idea what position he is. Defensive Rookie goes to a player for the Saints. Best Quarterback goes to Trey Lance. Best Running Back goes to Kamara. Best Wide Receiver goes to Christian Kirk. Best O-Lineman goes to Trent Williams. Best D-Lineman goes to Nick Bosa. Best Linebacker goes to Khalil Mack. Best defensive back goes to James Bradbury IV, and best kicker goes to Eddie Pinheiro. Over on the AFC side, Offensive Player of the Year goes to Derrick Henry. Joe Spitzer comes in 5th. Defensive Player of the Year goes to TJ Watt with 23 sacks, I believe. And Fletcher Cox and DeMarcus Lawrence both made the list, but yeah, the 23 sacks is going to be hard to beat. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Nate Lawrence, a player for the Patriots. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Brian Devin. We got Shelton Peterson and Kyle both on the list, but neither won Rookie of the Year. Best quarterback goes to Joe Spitzer. All right, cool. Best running back goes to Derrick Henry. I doubt Sanders even made this list. He did not. Best wide receiver goes to Stephon Diggs. DJ Chark comes in 3rd, and no one else on our team made the list. Best O-line goes to Quentin Nelson. Laramie Tunsil does show up on this list, but no one else on our line does. At least we have a solid left tackle. Best D-line goes to Myles Garrett, not Fletcher Cox or DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay. Best linebacker goes to TJ Watt, and I want to see if we even make the list here. No one on our team does. I'm kind of surprised Jordan Brooks didn't make the list. Best DB, Desmond King with his 5 interceptions, and no one else on our team made that list. And best kicker does not go to Justin Tucker. I'm kind of shocked, honestly. And on the season, we had the 21st ranked offense and the 25th ranked defense, and we still made a Super Bowl run. No idea how. We just caught fire at the right time. We scored the 10th most points in the NFL, and then allowed the 16th most. I don't really understand this team. We made a Super Bowl run, though. So here's your screen for the 2024 season recap. Obviously, like I said, and like you saw, we lost the Super Bowl 21-31, and then there are all the yearly awards on the side. So I don't think I've ever shown this screen in franchise before, but yeah, we've got some coaching changes. Sean McVay, who was apparently the head coach of the Bears, has been fired. Sean McDermott has been fired from the Bills. The Jets head coach in real life was apparently in Atlanta, and he just got fired. David Culley, who I thought retired whenever I kicked him out and took the job, went to the Jets. He just got fired. Joe Judge, who is now the head coach of the Lions, well, not anymore. He just got fired. Sean Payton has been fired, and Frank Reich has been fired. And I thought it was possible for your coordinators to be poached to be head coaches, but I'm not sure about that anymore because I feel like making a Super Bowl run and our defensive coach is actually pretty well leveled up. He would get a job offer somewhere, but I guess not. It looks like the top 3 picks will actually be quarterbacks. And at number 6, the Saints are expected to take one, and the Cowboys at 7. So yeah, this was always a pretty QB heavy class every time I looked at it. And I think we only have 1 first round pick this year, and it will be all the way down here at 31, where we are expected to take Brian Springs, a wide receiver out of Virginia Tech. Let's see if there are any big retirements. Cameron Jordan has retired, Cameron Hayward, Sam Martin, J.J. Watt retires a Charger, Jimmy Ward has retired, Brandon Brooks finally retired, Lane Johnson retired. So the Eagles O-line is about to take a major hit, and their quarterback just threw 25 interceptions? Akeem Hicks has retired, Devon Kennard, Von Miller. No one else on the team has retired. Jason Verrett retired. Justin Britt, Demario Davis, Kenyon Drake, Logan Thomas, Kareem Jackson, Nick Foles has retired. Zach Ertz has retired, Andy Dalton. Still no Tom Brady. Colin Kaepernick retires. And there he is. Tom Brady finally retires after spending 2 years on the free agent list. Jonathan Hankins, Eric Fisher, Justin McCray, Kelvin Beachum, Lawrence Guy, Justin Houston, T.Y. Hilton, Matt Breida, and RG3. I thought RG3 was already retired. Is he not officially retired in real life? During the regular season, I did not re-sign anybody because I wanted to kind of look over the team at the very end of the year, see how far that team made a run at it. I honestly didn't expect to make a Super Bowl run. I figured we were going to get bounced in the first round, and once we got by Jacksonville, I was pretty sure we were going to lose to Pittsburgh. And after we got by Pittsburgh, I was like, okay, there's no way we beat the Titans. And then we destroyed the Titans, and then we lost the Super Bowl. But we do have a ton of cap space this year, $109 million. So we are going to try to bring back Justin Tucker just because he was pretty reliable for us this year. And he is going to test free agency. Okay, never mind. We're not bringing him back yet. Fletcher Cox played absolutely amazing for us this year, but I need to see what is your progression history. Down to a normal dev trait, lost his star dev trait, -2 awareness, -6 to power moves, -2 to tackle, -1 to speed. How about your block shedding go down? 5, -3 awareness. He got +10 morale. We're going to let him hit the market. We will see what other teams are offering him, and we'll try to get him on another cheap deal. But yeah, he's a 78 overall now. Age is a bitch in this game. Even though he led the team in interceptions, we are going to move on from Desmond King. We're going to let him hit the market. We might bring him back if there's not really any other DBs on the market or anyone in the draft that I really love. Robert Tonyan is another one that may have lost a step due to age. He is now 31. We're going to let him hit the market as well. If we can bring him back on a cheaper deal, we might try. But for now, we're going to move Lamar Boswell to our starting tight end spot. Honestly, the more I go through here, the more I'm going to think we're going to let some guys test the market. Jacob Martin is probably going to be another one. He's 29 years old, 76 overall. He's a solid backup. We're going to see if we can either get him for a cheaper deal. I know I have a ton of cap space. But we're going to see if we can get him on another deal or if there's another solid backup that's a little younger in free agency. We're going to offer this contract to right tackle Terrence Steele. He wanted 2 years, $15 million, which I feel like is a lot for a 78 overall. But he's going to test free agency. We will definitely try to bring him back. I think he's been pretty solid for us. As good as Rashard Higgins was for us, he looks to have also taken a step back. -5 catching, -3 deep route, -2 to medium route, -2 to release. I think we're going to have to move on from Rashard Higgins as well, see if we can get a new slot receiver or move on with Floyd Bryan back in the slot. And we're going to offer Brevin Jordan this contract because maybe he can be our backup tight end. He's been our third string and he wants to play for a new team as well. All right, what about wide receiver Reggie Simon? Can we manage to bring anybody back? And wide receiver Reggie Simon is coming back. He is a burner, 96 speed, 93 acceleration. He's been on our team for a while. We're going to offer Ross Blacklock this contract. He was a pretty solid backup for us this year, and he is coming back. I finally, after 4 seasons, have Cameron Glass up to a 70 overall, so he is a solid backup. We will try to bring him back, and he is also returning. Outside linebacker Garrett Wallow, we're going to attempt to bring back, and he is also returning. We're going to attempt to bring back defensive tackle Roy Lopez. He's a 76 overall, a scheme fit, or a 73 overall base, and he is also returning. We're also going to bring back right end Jeremiah Moats as long as he takes this deal, and he will. And Titus Howard is 29 years old, 75 overall left guard. We'll bring him back for a 2-year deal, and we kind of keep our O-line solid right now. So here's everybody that is not signing a contract right now. Justin Tucker, Fletcher Cox, Desmond King, Robert Tonyan, Jacob Martin, Terrence Steele, Rashard Higgins, Morgan Fox, Trey Flower. I'm not bringing back Trey Flowers. He got torched so much last season. Titus Howard is coming back. Brevin Jordan is heading free agency. Jeremiah Moats is coming back. Billy Price is heading free agency. He was just a depth center in case Ross Freeman ever got hurt. Reggie Simon is coming back. Lonnie Johnson, we are finally going to let hit the market. I think I've signed him to 1-year deals the last 2 or 3 seasons. Ross Blacklock is coming back. Roy Lopez is coming back. I am letting Samaje Perine walk. We really don't even use a power back that much, but we will look to see if there is a better one in the market. Outside linebacker Garrett Wallow is coming back, and running back Cameron Glass is coming back. Immediately in free agency, Deandre Hopkins is available. He has 17 bids on him already. He's a 95 overall, 33-year-old receiver. We are not even going to try to bring him back to Houston here. I like having Brian Tyson and DJ Chark on the outside, and if we need to roll with Floyd Bryan or someone else in the slot, we will. And it appears the Colts are finally moving on from Carson Wentz as his contract expires and he hits free agency. And Stafford looks like he's gone from the Saints, so it looks like Carson Wentz may be quarterbacking the Saints next season. Before I really start to dive into free agency, I want to look at our roster and see really where we need to improve. Obviously, at quarterback, we are fine. At running back, we have Miles Sanders and Cameron Glass. Don't have a fullback on the roster. Wide receiver, we have some solid options here. Floyd Bryan could be a very good slot receiver, I feel like. He's got 80 short route, 79 medium, and 80 deep route. We may not need to bring in anyone else unless they have really, really good attributes. Tight end, we probably need to look at some options because we only have Lamar Boswell. At left tackle, we have a 90 overall Laramie Tunsil. Left guard, we have an 80 overall Bob Holliday. At center, we have an 83 overall Ross Freeman. Right guard, a 77 overall Garrett Barnett. We might need to look at guards. Right tackle, Tracy Kitchens, a 74 overall. We're definitely going to need to look at right tackles. Defensive end, we still have DeMarcus Lawrence, who's an 89 overall. It looks like he took a regression hit, though. But I think he's only on like a 2 or 3 year contract. Right end, Jonathan Greenard, who is an 87. He is not usually an 87. What is his base stat? An 84. They still have some of the boost from a couple of the games. Defensive tackle Davon Hamilton and Ross Blacklock will look to add another defensive tackle. Outside linebacker, we have Malik Morgan, who's been really solid. Ramon Kyle has been solid, and outside linebacker Jordan Brooks has also been really good. So we are finally set at linebacker. Cornerback is where I'm kind of concerned, though. Shelton Peterson and Pat Bergans are both good, but I'd like to bring in another one just to kind of shore that position up. Free safety and 91 overall Justin Reed, and at strong safety and 83 overall Grant Delpit. We'll look to add some backups there. But really looking through this, I don't think there's many starters we need to add. We need another defensive back, we need another defensive tackle, and we need depth at other positions, and we need a starting right tackle. Let's go over all the offers I have made in week 1 of free agency. First, kicker Harrison Butker. I decided to go with him over Justin Tucker because he's a few years younger and actually has more kick power and accuracy. Next is defensive back Shaquille Griffin. I don't need him to be the number 1 DB, but he still has solid ratings, 93 speed, 84 man, 86 zone, 80 play rec. I think he can be really good on the other side of the ball from Shelton Peterson. And I said I would not offer a wide receiver unless they were far better than Floyd Bryant, and I believe Michael Gallup is. 29 years old, 6'1", 198 pounds, 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 87 catching, 83 short route, normally 84 medium route and 84 deep route, and 89 spectacular catch and 83 release, but he has low morale right now. I've also offered Robert Tonyan a 1-year deal that is very cheap, and then Poona Ford, a defensive tackle. He's got higher block shedding than Fletcher Cox, he's only 1 overall point less, and he's only 29 years old and a scheme fit. I'm hoping we can get him from the Titans. Then I offered Jacob Martin a cheap deal. And then last is Andre Dillard, who is a left tackle. No, I will not be playing him at left tackle. If I get him, he will be a right tackle. I think he has some okay ratings, and it's a pretty cheap contract. He's got 86 strength, 71 run block, 81 pass block, which is what I was really intrigued about. And like I said, it's a cheap deal. It's 1 year, $1.6 million. So if he doesn't work out, we can just let him walk after next season. And before we dive back into free agency, here is the new mock draft. I don't think too much has changed except for that quarterback I think was going to the Saints at first, but I guess now that they've signed Carson Wentz, possibly they are passing on him. Probably a horrible idea. I don't think he's that good in this universe anymore. At one point I was a major Carson Wentz believer. They're mocking us to take a running back, and I was actually looking at these 2 defensive backs to try to get in the first round to maybe land if we don't get Shaquille Griffin. The ones we have signed: Harrison Butker, Shaquille Griffin, Robert Tonyan, Poona Ford, and Andre Dillard. So we're now in a bidding war for Michael Gallup, that's great, and Jacob Martin. So all I've done this week is I've upped Michael Gallup's offer by a bit, and I pulled out of Jacob Martin's deal because I don't want to pay him what those other teams are willing to pay him. Okay, we've got a 5th-year option here. I'm scanning through some of our personal data for the upcoming season, and I came across Joe Spitzer's name. His contract is coming up a year from now, but we really couldn't find a way to get him on the field this year. You think he's going to be an important part of the team in the future? What do you mean he couldn't find the field? He threw for almost 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and we lost in the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Yes, he's going to be part of this team's future. Yes, give us the 5th-year option. EA, you are the dumbest company alive. And we managed to land Michael Gallup. Okay, so I have another 5th-year option here, and this one is for Malik Morgan, our starting outside linebacker, that we also took in the first round the same year as our quarterback. So let me get this straight. Our quarterback, who just threw for almost 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns, you think barely saw the field. And then our starting outside linebacker, who I don't think has been injured more than maybe 1 time in the first 3 years of his career, barely saw the field. EA, you are by far the worst company ever. Let's go ahead and check out the free agency recap. Justin Tucker is still a free agent. Who is the highest rated? Darius Slay is the highest rated non-kicker or punter still left in free agency. I tried to bring Lonnie Johnson back on like a 1-year vet minimum, and he wouldn't take it, obviously. We'll see what he costs in actual free agency later if I want to bring him back. But here are the newest Houston Texans: Harrison Butker, Shaquille Griffin, Michael Gallup, Robert Tonyan, Robert Tonyan's not a new one, Poona Ford, and Andre Dillard. We've had Tonyan this entire series. Let's see where some of these top guys go. DeAndre Hopkins went to Cincinnati. They were also trying to get Michael Gallup, so I guess they were trying to pair Hopkins with Jamar Chase and Michael Gallup. Michael Thomas is going to the Giants. Stephon Gilmore is a Dolphin. Orlando Brown is headed to the Bucks. Xavier Howard is a Steeler. Stephon Tuitt is a Lion. Khalil Mack is a Viking. Chandler Jones is a Packer. Travis Etienne is a Buccaneer, so he doesn't move far. Moves from Jacksonville to Tampa. And Josh Sweat is a Packer. Let's see where these quarterbacks are going. Jameis Winston is going to be a Viking. Zach Wilson is going to Washington. Okay. So I get that Drew Lock's rating wasn't great, right? But Drew Lock also just almost threw for 5,000 yards. And then they replace him with Zach Wilson. Make it make sense. Carson Wentz is going to New Orleans. Jared Goff is headed back to LA. Davis Mills is going to Tampa. Marcus Mariota is going to Tampa. Kellen Mond is going to Seattle. Trubisky is headed to Philadelphia. And we have the final mock draft, which still has these quarterbacks, I think, going in the same exact order. The Jets taking a quarterback. The Cowboys taking a quarterback now. I think that switched. They were going to pass on the QB, and Indy was going to take him. But we are projected to take halfback Darius Prince. Probably not going to happen. I have a 91 overall running back. I probably shouldn't take one in the first round. Let's get the NFL draft underway. With the first pick, the Chicago Bears take quarterback Paul Richardson. Just like the mock draft said, the Bills will probably also take a quarterback, Lucas Paxton out of Oklahoma State. Let's just go check something real fast. They had the number 2 pick, right? So they take a quarterback. Not like they have a 93 overall quarterback on their roster already. EA, I beg you, please lose the license somehow. With the third pick, the Lions take quarterback Chase Howard. And I think that's the second time in the series they've taken a first-round quarterback. Let's go see. Because they also have the quarterback that was taken very first overall in our first season, RJ Holcomb, who's an 81. Just for fun, I went and looked at the Bears roster. They still have Justin Fields and Luke Jones, who was a superstar dev trait that they took in the first round, I think, last season. So now they will have 3 first-round quarterbacks on their roster. So 3 quarterbacks go in the top 3, and probably none of them will start. Great logic, EA. Pick 4, the Commanders, or the football team, whatever you want to call them, take a running back out of Texas. The Jets take Parker Cooks, quarterback Florida State. Now, you guys actually might make sense to take a QB. See, they make sense to take a quarterback because their starting quarterback is Ian Book, who's a 66 overall. And with the 6th pick, the Saints take wide receiver Dorian Lindley out of Washington. Dallas, with pick 7, takes quarterback Quincy Ulrich. Let's go look at their roster. 1, they have like 6 quarterbacks on the roster already, and a 96 overall Dak Prescott. EA, I beg you, just add a little bit of logic to the AI. It makes the game feel so much better when they are actually making somewhat smart moves and not doing dumb shit like this. So I believe that's 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 7 picks, and only one of them really has a chance to start. Unless that one that went to the Bears is just amazing. The Vikings take right outside linebacker Tom Burns, who I think had a draft story. The Colts take wide receiver Bo Grayson out of South Carolina. Philadelphia will take left end Joe Wakefield out of East Carolina. The Falcons take right tackle Sean Hyde. Raiders take left end Andrew Vaughn. And yeah, we're just going to skip to our pick now. Okay, so I've been looking around the first round for a minute. And honestly, all of the positions I really had scouted, no one's there that I'm willing to take. One of the big things I scouted was defensive back, but I feel like we have that kind of set with Shelton Peterson, Shaquille Griffin, and Pat Bergantz. And Kendall Bibbs actually upgraded a bit last season. I think he got to a 73 overall after we took him in the second round last year, and he was kind of a bust. So we're going to look at left end Zach Bradham here, who was 9th in the 40-yard dash. He didn't have a terrific combine, but his skill set is A, power move, C, pursuit, B, awareness, C, injury. I think he is going to be a good fit for us, and it even says he's one of the top fits. So we will take Zach Bradham. Not a hidden dev trait, which kind of sucks, but we will see how good he is. And with our second round pick, we're going to trade it to Tampa for a 2nd and a 4th next year. And for our next pick in the middle of the 3rd round, I'm looking at center Sammy Cooper. We don't have any depth at center. We only have Ross Freeman. This guy finished 2nd in bench reps at both the Combine and the Pro Day. And we know he has run block A and run block power A and B awareness. So we're just going to take Sammy Cooper, and he is a hidden dev trait, which means he's probably similar to Ross Freeman, our current starting center. And here at the beginning of the 4th round, I'm looking at defensive tackle Brian Harrison out of Clemson. He finished 6th in the bench reps at the combine, 4th during pro days. He has great acceleration. Where's change of direction? Change of direction is decent. He's got B finesse move and B pursuit. We're going to take Brian Harrison at defensive tackle. And here at the end of the 5th round, I'm looking at Saul Burnham, a right guard out of West Virginia, who finished 5th in the bench reps at the combine and 7th during pro days. And then his skills, he has A impact block, B run block, B lead block. He's got an F injury and C awareness, but for a late 5th round pick, I think he's going to be pretty solid. Now we are in the 6th round with pick 11 in this round, and I'm looking at strong safety Brandon Brown. I don't think he's going to be, a great player, but he had a terrific combine. And then skills, we know he has D-man coverage, B kick return, C play rec, and F stamina. But we're going to take Brandon Brown as a backup, probably developmental player. Our next pick in the 6th round is pick 31, and I'm looking at wide receiver Gabe Waddle. He is projected to go in round 1 or 2. This stuff never works out for me, but I really have no one else here I'm willing to take. He's got C medium route, C spec catch, C spin move, F stiff arm. I mean, what's the worst that could happen here? And with our last pick here in the draft at pick 31 in the 7th round, I'm looking at left end Jeremiah Carnegie, 6'6", 267 out of BYU. Really, the only thing we know about him is he has B power move, D pursuit, and F stamina. We'll also see injury. And then here was his combine. Not a great combine, but we're also at the end of the 7th round. And now we can take a look at our draft class. Left end Zach Bradham, 6'5", 269 rookie out of LSU at defensive end. Usually 72 overall. Right now he has some boost for some reason. 78 power move, 78 tackle, 73 block shed, but usually 70. 84 strength, 85 acceleration. He is going to probably be a little bit of a project, which is not really what you want at the end of the 1st round, but also he is not expected to start right away because we still have DeMarcus Lawrence and Jonathan Greenard. Then our 3rd round pick, center Sammy Cooper with a hidden dev trait. Here are his ratings: 90 strength, 77 run block, but he has some lowered ratings right now. Usually 79, usually an 81 pass block, usually an 82 run block power, a 76 lead block. I think he's going to be a good backup. Hell, he may even play guard. Okay, Brian Harrison was not a good pick. He's probably going to end up on the practice squad, which is not great for a 4th round pick. Kind of missed on that one. 91 strength, and then everything else is bad. Right guard Saul Burnham is a 63 overall, so we are not landing on these late picks that much. But 86 strength, 73 run block, 65 pass block. Yeah, you'll have to develop a little bit. Strong safety Brandon Brown out of Clemson is a 67 overall. Let's see his ratings: 91 speed, 70 zone, 80 pursuit, usually 77. Not great play rec, but we can improve that. 62 man, 68 hit power. So once again, I don't think any of these guys are going to start immediately. I don't think any of our rookies are probably going to start. The only one that stands a shot is that center. Then wide receiver Gabe Waddle out of Delaware State fell to us in the 6th round, the late 6th round, and he had a projection of round 1 to 2. With a 68 overall, I can see why he fell, but honestly, I feel like he's not that bad. He's got a good base to build around: 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 74 catching, 74 catching traffic. Usually he has a boost right now, 79 short route. He's not going to start immediately on this team, just like any of these rookies this year, but I still feel like he could sit on the practice squad or even as like our 5th receiver and get some experience. And then our worst draft pick of the class, Jeremiah Carnegie, who is a base 61 overall, will probably end up on the practice squad if not cut, and his ratings are not great. And looking around the rest of the NFL, it looks like the best player in the class was the running back out of Texas who had an 80 overall. And I think this is the 2nd time Washington's taken like the top running back in the class. I could be completely wrong, but he's got 90 speed, 93 acceleration. He's a really good running back with a hidden dev trait. It does hurt here a little bit with Juan Rogers. I was looking for a backup strong safety. I could have taken this dude at the end of the 1st round. I was really looking at him. There were a couple others, and then I ultimately decided on the left end. But Juan Rogers is a 78 overall with a hidden dev trait, 94 speed, 73 zone. Yeah, he would have probably been a little bit better of a project than Brandon Brown. Looking at the rest, a defensive tackle that went to Pittsburgh is a 78. Another running back, Darius Prince, the running back they had mocked to us, is a 77 overall. A normal dev trait though, he goes to Dallas with 91 speed, 94 acceleration. and he has Marion Barber's number. So Washington just straight up drafted speed. In the 7th round, they take Deandre Hopkins, who is a 70 overall. You got him at the end of the 7th round. Wow, okay. Or I'm sorry, at the beginning of the 7th round. 95 speed, 95 acceleration, 80 catching, but he has a boost right now. Washington, I feel like, killed this draft. And then Brian Springs, a 76 overall, is another receiver they took with 95 speed. Okay, so Washington is trying to give their quarterback some weapons. And if you've watched any of my other offseason videos, you know that I love to look at quarterbacks here. So starting, we have Glen Ridley, who went in the 5th round. He is a 62 overall to the Raiders. Then we have A.J. McKenzie, who went in the 1st round to the Seahawks. I'm actually excited to see all these 1st-round quarterbacks because there were a ton, even though I don't think any of them are going to start. Quincy Allridge goes to Dallas. He's wearing number 22 because I guess all of the quarterback numbers were taken. Gotta love that. I wish EA was smart enough to program something like that in to, change numbers if a quarterback comes in. Then you have Chandler Richardson, who's a 64 overall that went to the Titans to back up Baker Mayfield. Then Chase Howard, a 76 overall. He was the 3rd overall pick. He has a hidden depth trait, but he will sit behind RJ Holcomb most likely. Then Frank Cole, quarterback out of Texas, is a 63 overall, goes to the Chargers. Lucas Paxton, who is the 2nd overall pick and will be sitting behind Josh Allen, is 76 overall with a normal dev trait. Then you have Logan Stratton, who is a 76 overall quarterback with a hidden dev trait, and Tampa just got themselves a quarterback. They did not have one. They had Taylor Heineke, who is a 70 overall, and now they have a 76 overall Logan Stratton with a hidden dev trait. And yeah, he's got some pretty good ratings. Then the Packers take Ben Bronson, a 63 overall quarterback in the 7th round with the last pick of the draft. Then we had Parker Cooks that goes to the Jets to start with a hidden dev trait, and let's look at his ratings. 90 throw power, 84 deep. Okay, he's not as good as the Buccaneers guy, but he's still going to be solid for them, I think. And then because I skipped past this pick, I didn't even notice it. The Chiefs also take a quarterback in the 1st round. Quarterback Kevin Waddle, who's a 73 overall with a normal dev trait, will sit behind Mahomes. And the Dolphins took a quarterback there in the 7th round, Andrew Harrison, who is a 63 overall. And the Bears' number 1 pick, Paul Richardson, is a 73 overall with a hidden dev trait, so he will sit behind probably both of those other quarterbacks. Now we're going to take a look and see how our division did. The Titans get a 75 overall corner in the 1st round. Nathan McNeil, what are his ratings? 92 speed, 75 man. He might end up being okay for them. A 70 overall and another 70 overall. And that is their class. They did okay. Now we will jump to the... Okay, now we'll jump to the Colts. I completely blanked on who was in my division for a second. They start with wide receiver Bo Grayson, who is a 73 overall. Is he a hidden dev trait is my question. He is. All right, so they get a pretty solid receiver. 92 speed, 93 acceleration. He can't run routes to save his life, but he is probably going to develop pretty good. They also got William Redd, a 75 overall defensive tackle in the 2nd round with a hidden dev trait. So their first 2 picks are good, and they got a 73 overall strong safety in the 3rd round. And yeah, he probably would have been a pretty solid pick for us too. And then in the 5th and 7th round, they get a 66 overall outside linebacker and a 66 overall defensive tackle. Now let's see how Jacksonville did. They start with Andrew Batista. I love that name, with a hidden dev trait, and they took him at pick 24, 74 overall. Then they got Nicholas Culver, a 73 overall in the 2nd round at right outside linebacker. Then a 69 overall strong safety, a 72 overall defensive tackle in the 4th round, and then there is the rest of their class. Then I wanted, just out of curiosity, to check out Washington's class because of what we saw of it so far, and they did pretty well. Running back 80 overall in the 1st round, then a 75 overall wide receiver, a 72 overall defensive tackle, a 72 overall tight end, who was probably the best tight end in this class because there were not many good ones. A 67 overall middle linebacker, a 66 overall strong safety, and then a 70 overall wide receiver in the 7th round. One free agent we're going to bring in is Marcus May to be our backup strong safety. Here are his ratings: 87 speed, 71 zone, which isn't great, but he's got 86 hit power, 88 acceleration, 79 play rec, and hopefully he can be a pretty solid backup. At the beginning of this video, I let Samaje Perine test out free agency, and I did not bring him back. Well, now we have another former Oklahoma back here in free agency who has 85 trucking, which is tied for the highest one, 86 break tackle, which I think is going to be the highest. It is. 92 carrying, which is going to be third, and he has 86 speed. We are going to bring in running back Ramondre Stevenson on a 1-year deal to be our power back. I don't know if he will stay on the roster, but we're going to bring in fullback Cody Hayes to at least try out the fullback position. We're going to bring in a third-string tight end Donald Parham Jr. He's 6'8", 240 pounds, has 84 speed, can't run routes to save his damn life, but he has 81 catching. The only free agent signing I did not show you guys is quarterback Chester Spitzer. I know EA can't do like multi-year storylines, like, you know, we took Joe Spitzer in the first draft and then 4 years later his shitty brother could be in the next draft. Well, we're going to bring him in on an undrafted free agent deal. We're going to just say that is Joe Spitzer's brother, and that's probably the only reason he even gets a tryout with this team. He is awful. 87 throw power, 66 deep accuracy, 66 medium, and 71 short. He will compete with Randy Cloud for the third string / practice squad job here in the offseason or in the preseason, and honestly, I don't think he stands much of a chance, but we're going to at least give him a shot. And before I wrap up the video, I will go over the depth chart going into the preseason. Obviously, starting at quarterback is Joe Spitzer. He may play a little bit, but we're going to see some Devontae Barr, Randy Cloud, and his brother Chester Spitzer. At running back, we have Miles Sanders, Ramondre Stevenson, and Cameron Glass. Fullback, we have Cody Hayes. We're actually bringing in a fullback to attempt this. Wide receiver, Brian Tyson, DJ Chark, and Michael Gallup. Gallup will probably get his number changed. I don't really like him in the number 9. We'll see where that goes. Tight end, Lamar Boswell, followed by Robert Tonyan and Donald Parham Jr. Left tackle is Laramie Tunsil. Left guard is Bob Holliday. Center is Ross Freeman. Right guard is going to be center Sammy Cooper. And right tackle is Perry Patton. On the defensive side of the ball, DeMarcus Lawrence is starting at left end. Zach Bradham is backing him up. At right end, Jonathan Greenard is starting, and Zach Bradham is also backing him up. He should get plenty of playing time in the preseason. Defensive tackles, Davon Hamilton and Poona Ford. I think this is a small downgrade from last year, but I'm hoping it doesn't affect us too bad. Outside linebacker, Malik Morgan. Middle linebacker, Ramon Kyle. Right outside linebacker, Jordan Brooks. Defensive back, Shelton Peterson, Shaquille Griffin, and Pat Bergantz round out our secondary, and I think they are going to be a very good force. At free safety, we still have Justin Reed, and at strong safety, we have Grant Delpit backed up by Marcus May. And then at kicker, Harrison Butker, and at punter, we have AJ Cole. But that will wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. In the next video, we will jump into the preseason, get that entirely done, get the final 53-man roster, and then get ready for the regular season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.